The idea of an impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden has come up, especially this past week. Is that something you would support?
Yes, I do, because I do believe that we have grounds for that inquiry. Number one, you have a president who's been pushing this Green New Deal agenda we talked about a little bit earlier. He's been pushing that. But what nobody ever told the American people is that his son facilitated the sale of a cobalt mine for a Chinese company in Africa. Hunter Biden did that. The New York Times has reported that. So if Hunter Biden's facilitating the sale of a mineral critical to solar panels, and President Biden is pushing a massive agenda for us to get and use and buy solar panels, does anybody think there's not a conflict of interest? That's number one. Number two, it is pretty clear to me that Joe Biden did use the weight of his office to influence policy in Ukraine when he was vice president of the United States. The Burisma executives told the FBI's, or they told the FBI's confidential human source that the Bidens got $10 million from Burisma. $10 million, right? And then months later, Joe Biden is telling Ukrainian officials in his capacity as vice president that he's going to withhold loans and make sure loans do not go to Ukraine if they keep the prosecutor looking into Burisma. That is public corruption. That's pay for play. The Democrats went after Donald Trump because he talked to Vladimir Zelensky about this issue. Joe Biden actually did the issue. So I think that's grounds number two. Grounds number three is, and this is, I think, this still is what needs to be proven. I do believe that the White House, through Merrick Garland, have obstructed justice by stonewalling and covering up these investigations into Hunter Biden. And if we can prove that, then I believe not only do you have impeachment of Joe Biden, but you have impeachment of Merrick Garland as well.
Is that just based on a hunch, or do you think you can find that proof? What does that proof look like?
Oh, it's based on no hunch. It's based on the fact that, and let me break this down a little bit more detail. Hunter Biden gets a plea deal. You mean to tell me that the Attorney General of the United States doesn't know what's in that plea deal? That the Deputy Attorney General of the United States doesn't know what's in that plea deal? That the Chief of Staff to the Attorney General doesn't know what's in that plea deal? Second question. You don't think that the White House counsel knows about said plea deal and that the president doesn't know? It's his son. He knows. So that's number one. And I think that it's easy to tie that. Number two, David Weiss, who was investigating Hunter Biden, wanted to bring charges in D.C. and in California. The AUSAs, who all report to Merrick Garland, did not let him bring charges going forward. You telling me the Attorney General made no indication to his other AUSAs that they should allow this to occur? The only person, when you have a district, when you have a U.S. attorney in one district go to another U.S. attorney, the conduit for that is actually the Deputy Attorney General of the United States, who right now is Lisa Monaco. If Lisa Monaco knows, Merrick Garland knows. If the U.S. attorneys in the other jurisdictions stop charges which legitimately should have been brought, that's obstruction of justice. That's not prosecutorial discretion.
I'm not comparing the two impeachment inquiries. Donald Trump was impeached. There's now questions being floated about a potential Joe Biden impeachment inquiry. Do you think that this could potentially be setting a precedent of impeaching presidents, for every president you might not agree with politically?
No, and here's why. Here's why let me say it this way. When we took over the majority, I was asked about impeachment a lot. And my concern is that I didn't want impeachment, and impeachment should never be a political tool, a political weapon. I do believe that the Democrats use it as a political tool and a political weapon. Because if you're going to impeach Donald Trump for talking to Vladimir Zelensky about what was happening with Burisma, that's a problem. That's not an impeachable offense. That's one world leader talking to another. So that's number one. Put that to the side. What we've done in the Oversight Committee is gone through a painstaking investigation to pull out evidence of public corruption. What we found speaks for itself, so much so that the White House press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, will not answer questions in the daily presidential briefing. Joe Biden will not sit for an interview with the press and even talk about any of this stuff. He ignores it and walks out the room. They have no defense. And what's even worse is most of the media doesn't even cover this. It's not as if they come out and say, well, the Republicans are saying that, but here's why it's faulty and wrong. They don't cover it. They ignore it. So that tells me that we definitely are onto something. I've also been very clear. If there are high crimes and misdemeanors that have been committed, then Congress does have a responsibility to impeach a president. We have that responsibility. But should it be weaponized? No, it should not. So that's why we're going through this process of actually building out a case and building out an argument. Democrats basically moved on the first impeachment after 2 months. We've been investigating for 6, and we're still going to investigate.
Congressman, we have to leave it there, but I really appreciate this conversation, and you're welcome back anytime. Congressman Byron Donalds, thanks so much.